It often feels like an internal civil war, the persistent hum of anxiety, the cycles of late-night overthinking, and a sense of dread that seems to come from nowhere. We treat these moments as personal failings, but they are actually the visible signs of a biological conflict. This conflict involves two specific regions: the amygdala, governing your primal survival instincts, and the prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic. When stress spikes, the amygdala triggers a physiological shutdown of the prefrontal cortex. This is an amygdala hijack. In this state, the neural pathways for logic go dark, leaving you to react based on primitive survival cues rather than deliberate choice. Examine your recent decisions. Were you the one making them, or were you simply following the dictates of a panicked nervous system? Most spend their lives reacting to these internal alarms, without ever realizing they've lost their autonomy. This state of chronic stress physically limits your capacity to reason. It traps you in a cycle of reactivity that makes long-term planning and emotional stability nearly impossible to maintain. To reclaim balance, you must begin with your physiology. You cannot think your way out of a hormonal spike. You have to lower the baseline concentration of stress chemicals in your bloodstream before your logic centers can re-engage. Proper hydration prevents the automatic rise of cortisol levels. 20 minutes of physical movement triggers the release of endorphins that neutralize stress signals. Most importantly, 7 hours of sleep allows the amygdala to cool down, resetting your emotional sensitivity for the day ahead. But biological maintenance is only half the battle. You also need a manual override for the moments when a panic response is already unfolding. Try this rhythm now. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7, and exhale slowly for 8. This specific cadence stimulates the vagus nerve, sending an immediate signal to the heart and brain that the perceived threat has passed. Using the breath provides a biological lever to shift your nervous system from a state of fight or flight back into rest and digest. It is the most effective way to force your internal systems back to a state of safety. With the body stabilized, you can address the cognitive habits that fuel anxiety. Mental fatigue often stems from the habit of treating every intrusive thought as an objective fact that requires your immediate attention. Visualize your consciousness as the sky. Thoughts are merely clouds drifting through it. They may be dark or heavy, but they are temporary. You are the vast, permanent background that remains unaffected by the weather passing through it. Think about the mental energy you spent this morning worrying about a potential problem that hasn't happened. For many, the majority of daily stress is generated by hypothetical scenarios that will never actually occur. To break this cycle, adopt a daily detox. Remove digital stimulation 60 minutes before sleep to lower neural arousal. Practice anchoring your focus on your current physical surroundings, and end the day by identifying 3 specific instances of progress or stability. Consistently clearing these mental loops prevents the daily buildup of stress. By reducing the frequency of these cognitive alarms, you keep the amygdala in a resting state and prevent the next hijack before it begins. Our culture often views constant busyness and high stress as indicators of high performance. We have been conditioned to believe that if we aren't anxious, we aren't working hard enough. The data suggests the opposite. A brain operating under the influence of stress chemicals sees a significant drop in focus, with cognitive efficiency hovering around 40. In contrast, a regulated, calm brain can sustain an efficiency rate of 95%. This increased efficiency translates into clearer decision-making and better emotional regulation. When you aren't fighting an internal alarm, you have the bandwidth to respond to challenges with precision instead of reacting out of fear. Maintaining a calm mind is an active strategy for high-level performance. It provides the clarity and focus necessary to navigate complex environments with consistent results. Integration is simple. Spend your first 15 minutes awake without a phone. Use the 4-7-8 breathing technique during your midday break, and conclude your evening by documenting the day's highlights. Mastery over your internal state is the foundation of a disciplined life. As the historical records of the Buddha suggest, peace is something found within your own perspective, not in the external world. Knowledge without application is useless. If you intend to implement these changes, commit to it publicly. Leave a comment with Day 1 to mark the start of your practice. Your mental health is the prerequisite for everything else you wish to achieve. By taking responsibility for these biological signals, You move from a state of constant reaction to a state of deliberate, focused action.